Today we have interesting discussion, I hope, about post-Putin Russia, and we don't have enough time, but we are trying. In this panel discussion, we will discuss Russia after Putin, how to achieve change, what to do after Putin, and whether anti-war Russians need a president in exile. And we have three keynote speakers. I think it would be better if Lev Alexandrovich Ponomarev will start. Lev Alexandrovich, I hope you can.
Добрый день, друзья. Простите, что я, значит, вот начинаю. Я не думаю, что именно я должен был начинать. Но, может быть, по опыту. Буду говорить, имея опыт 90-х годов и победы, я должен сказать, мирной демократической революции.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be interpreting today again, and excuse me if it's not going to be good. I would like to speak, having all the background I have had from the 90s, and I would call that background of participating in a peaceful democratic revolution.
Поэтому несколько слов о том. Вот давайте я спрошу вас. Какого числа в России прошла мирная демократическая революция? Есть период, конечно, можно указать, там с 89 по 91, допустим, а вот прямо число, час, может быть, можете указать?
Let me ask you first if you can tell me when did the peaceful democratic revolution take place in Russia? We can talk about a period from about 89 to 91, but can you give me the exact hour?
Я многих опрашивал, даже историки называют цифру 91 год. Это абсолютно, уверяю вас, неправильно. Мирная демократическая революция произошла на съезде народных депутатов Российской Федерации в конце мая. День точно не помню.
I have asked around a lot of people, and even historians tell me that it was in 1991, which isn't true. The peaceful democratic revolution took place in the end of May of the 1990, and it was during the gathering of People's Deputies of the Russian Federation.
На этом съезде были две фракции. Они выдвигали председателя Верховного Совета России. Дем России, который я был одним из руководителей, выдвигала Ельцина, а значит, коммунисты там даже поменяли по ходу. Было 5 голосований или 4, я тоже не помню. Победил Ельцин. Вот этот день, этот час и есть победа мирная, подчеркиваю, мирная победа демократической революции в России. Потому что мирная никто никогда не запоминает. А вот если бы там была кровь, то точно бы все помнили.
During those elections, there were two fractions, and they were electing chairman of the highest People's Council of the Russian Federation. Yeltsin won, and it was peaceful, so it's never remembered.
Я твердый сторонник мирной демократической революции в России. Как бы это ни выглядело фантастически. Кстати, в конце 80-х годов это тоже выглядело фантастически, что может быть мирный переход власти. А он произошел. Вы будете говорить, что вот вы там все проиграли, но первые 3 года мы создали основу демократического государства, законодательство демократического государства. Оно и сейчас еще справедливо в значительной степени.
I am a supporter of the peaceful democratic revolution, despite the fact that it can sound a bit naive and fantastic, I should tell you that at the end of the 90s, it also sounded fantastic, but during 3 first years, we were able to create a legislatory base of a democratic country. And the legislation, in most part, remains fair ever since.
Теперь к сути перехожу, коротко буду. Прежде всего, когда мы будем говорить о 100 днях, мы должны сказать, что мы сейчас должны делать. Мы должны максимально объединиться внутри страны. Там есть Катя Дунцова, наверное, вы все знаете. Вот почему надо максимально помогать ей создавать в регионах организации. Максимально причем. Значит, причем они разные. Я так более-менее хорошо знаю, какие разные люди там. Ничего страшного. Значит, очень много молодежи, и на них надо опираться. Поэтому сейчас уже готовятся к 100 дням. Выборы сейчас в сентябре будут. Максимально помогать это выборам. Максимально. Ну а 100 дней должны идти мирно. Путина нет, назначены выборы в государстве. Может быть, неочередные выборы президента, может быть, неочередные выборы в парламент. Вот к этому надо готовиться. Но фактически подходить к этому будущее вот постепенно, шаг за шагом. Тогда, значит, я надеюсь, не будет кровавой революции, я надеюсь. Здесь, конечно, много будут возражать мне, но тем не менее.
If we talk about 100 days after Putin, we should first ask ourselves what to do now. And there is a very prominent politician in Russia at the moment, Ekaterina Dontsova. And I believe that it's important to consolidate people who are in the country and help Ekaterina to create different regional organizations with different people, a lot of young people. There will be an election held in September, and we should also help her. I believe that we should approach 100 days after Putin step by step and probably conduct presidential and parliament elections.
Заканчиваю. Значит, начиная опять того, что сейчас делать. Я, может быть, должен был начать с того, чтобы добиваться освобождения политических заключенных. Изо дня в день писать резолюции, влиять на зарубежную оппозицию, чтобы они ставили главным условием вот каких-то преобразований, информационно влиять. За границей должна информационно помогать объединению, вот создание, я бы сказал, народного фронта, народного, даже слово демократия не произношу, народного фронта после Путина, народного фронта против тоталитаризма, за демократию, я не знаю, там будет ли, насколько популярно это слово. Народный фронт должны создавать. Ну вот на этом я заканчиваю, а вот народный фронт будет потихонечку побеждать потом.
I believe that first of all we should advocate for liberation of the political prisoners, and I also believe that the West must help consolidate the forces in the country by supporting free media. Summing up, I believe that it's crucially important to create a people's front. I wouldn't call it a democratic people's front, but it should definitely be anti-totalitarianism.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Спасибо.
Thank you, Lev Alexandrovich. Next, Lyubov Sobol. She is a Russian politician in exile.
Good morning, friends. 2 years ago, shortly before the same conference, we received tragic news. Alexei Navalny had been killed. It is difficult to put into words how deeply this affected not only me personally, but Russian society as a whole. Alexei Navalny was widely respected and supported. He had significant public backing inside Russia and was known to international leaders. He should have a future dedicated to public service and democratic change. Instead, Vladimir Putin ordered the killing of my friend and political ally. Ahead of this year's conference, new findings have been made public. 5 independent laboratories in different countries have confirmed that Alexei Navalny was killed using neurotoxin, a substance produced by a poisonous species of frog. I am often asked why Alexei Navalny chose to return to Russia. For me, the answer has been always clear. He loved his country, and believed in its people. He could not imagine his life outside Russia, and he accepted the risks that came with that decision. Navalny's legacy cannot be lost. It lives in people who reject corruption, violence, and war, and who believe in a free democratic Russia, a Russia that seeks cooperation and partnership with other countries rather than violence against its neighbors. And this is the Russia Alexei Navalny stood for, and this is the Russia we must continue to work for. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Natalia Arnaud is president of the Free Russia Foundation.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, everybody. Actually, I knew that I was going to be a panelist today, but when I arrived to the panel, I was unexpectedly, we saw that I'm among keynote speakers, and this is maybe how Russia can democratize as well. We know it's there, but the change will be very unexpected, so it's better to be prepared. I was actually one of the very first Russians who had to flee due to Putin's regime. It was those who were persecuted for Bolotnaya case back in 2013, but also several people from pro-democracy, democracy promotion organizations. Then after annexation of Crimea, more people left, murder of Boris Nemtsov, even more, after this constitutional coup of 2020. Of course, preparing for the full-scale invasion in 2021, even more people had to flee from Russia. And after the full-scale invasion, we know that, again, it was dozens, then hundreds, then thousands, then hundreds of thousands, maybe over 1 million. So a lot of Russians are now in exile, which makes us quite a divided civil society. But this division is also very conditional. And this is the Kremlin who wants us to be divided. For us, all of us, it should be that we are all part of the global Russian pro-democracy anti-war civil society with 2 legs, 1 leg in country and 1 leg in exile. And I think it's very important for us to stand very firm on both legs. It's very, very important condition for our victory. Again, this scenario of democratization in Russia, we understand that many people in the West, in Ukraine, like in Georgia and so on, in Azerbaijan, might be very skeptical about these prospects of democratization in Russia. But we, as pro-democracy Russians, just cannot afford not to believe in that. This is our goal, this is our mission, this is something we had to fight for. This is, again, a very important condition for us. Maybe it's not that necessary to have, I don't know, president in exile or some, I don't know. There is a lot of maybe not conditions or demands from our Western partners and colleagues and allies, but maybe requests to us to have that one body. We very often have to explain that we are not a United Russia party or not a Communist Party of the Soviet Union. We are still in one coalition. We are all against Putin's regime. We are all for support of Ukraine. We are all against this brutal war. We are all for changes, positive changes in our country. We might be all in different factions, but we are doing a very important work, and we are still all together in the direction for democratization. Also, it's very important for us to get our agency, to understand who we are as a force. And maybe that panel yesterday when a Lithuanian member of PACE, or Parliamentary Assembly of Council of Europe, Emanuelis Zingeris, said that this is a very important task for Russian opposition in exile to get legitimacy. This platform at PACE, again, was the very first step. It's very good. And this is what we should do to integrate Russia back. Because, again, Russia once was a member of the Council of Europe. It was kicked out, rightfully so, after the full-scale invasion. But pro-democracy Russians came into that place, and it's very important, again, for Europe to talk to us, pro-democracy Russians. We already can do a lot of things, and like Lev Ponomaryov said, like the release of, and Lisa yesterday, about the release of political prisoners. This is one of the very concrete things that we can do. For example, in the PACE resolution of this year for support of lasting, comprehensive and just peace in Ukraine, together with this demand for immediate release of Ukrainian POWs and civilian hostages and kidnapped and forcefully deported Ukrainian children. It was very important to add one line, just one line about the release of Russian, anti-war Russian political prisoners. One line, but it's thousands and thousands of lives. So it's very important for us to do this job. Also, since we are all now in so many new countries, we can learn experience from those countries. Those who are in Poland can learn the experience, again, of Polish solidarity resistance movement. In the Baltic countries also same, or how environmental protests turned into political protests. In Germany here, how they do, I don't know, self-governance and things like that. Or in the US, a very important example that actually institutions are important, but not that important. People are more important, and it's only together, people and institutions, and then it will work. So again, we can do a lot of things being in exile. And of course, a very important task for us to be prepared, because again, the change will come, can come very unexpectedly. We should be prepared. We know that many colleagues from different movements, we know that Anti-War Committee does that, Forum of Yulia Navalny, we at Russia Foundation, we all are working on blueprints of reforms. It's very important for us to prepare. We were not prepared after the full-scale, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, we were not prepared for reforms. We didn't have any plan. Now this is a task for us to be prepared, to have already in writing all these constitutional reforms, economic reforms, everything else. And so it's really, really important job on us, which we all are doing, and it's very good. We should do it maybe even more in coordination with each other, but it's already a good step in good direction. Then, of course, a very important question, how we, again, if the democratization is possible, again, non-violent method is very important. Again, all the studies show that then it will be more successful. And always, all the studies also show that the second attempt is more successful. If we tried once, the second attempt will be, because we are more ready. Unfortunately, it can work the other ways as well, as we know in Trump's America, but for us, a good lesson is, yes, just to be prepared. It will be very difficult because changes, again, the most important thing will come again the day after Putin, because for us, the main question will be not Russia after Putin, but Russia without Putinism. And this is like the main efforts for us will start then, because the values of the society don't change overnight. And it's quite a sick society, unfortunately, zombified by huge propaganda 24/7, by repressions and fear and everything else. So we'll have to do a lot of work. We should think about all the programs, how we are going to do that. It won't be easy, it won't be quick. And then I think I'll finish, but again, for us, it's important understanding then history also teaches us that all dictatorships eventually fall. All dictators are mortal. And again, we need to think about how we are going to replace it, what exactly we are going to do. We understand that, yes, the Kremlin is maybe still strong, but not as strong, and still lots of vulnerabilities. We should attack those vulnerabilities now to just expedite the date of that date of Russia after Putin. There was a very important, since we are in Europe, important saying that I really like, that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The same request for Europe. The best time to help Russian democracy cause was after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The second best time is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia, for inspirational speech. I have a question for everyone. Firstly, I would like to ask Ivan Zhdanov. Ivan Zhdanov is a Russian politician, and many people think that it's impossible to influence a country from abroad. How to achieve change in Russia if you are abroad? What do you think?
Thank you very much, Alexander. It's unexpected to will start with questions. Let me answer the first question about the day after Putin. I would like to say that it is not so important who will be after Putin. It's I think a much more important question is this: how do we make sure that the next president will definitely leave? That power changes every 4 years, so that 10 or 15 years we do not end up in a new cycle of one man or woman rule, just with a different face. As we can see, it happens very easily and almost unnoticed. It is impossible to appoint. Answering your question, it is impossible to appoint any president in exile. Also, at the last forum, someone tried to do exactly that. And the very idea of a government in exile will be attacked and discredited immediately. So the tasks of the opposition in exile are more practical and clear: to support independent media, protect activists and their families, keep networks, and help those inside the country. And if we do any voting, it should be as a summer poll without any illusions in exile. On the Constitution, it was a question of the panel. The text can be written very easily, very quickly with ChatGPT. We can, in 10 minutes, to receive paper with a great Constitution. But the problem is not the text. The problem is enforcement. And how do we make sure it is actually followed? We need a multi-layer system of protection. Independent court, parliamentary oversight, federalism, strong local governments, limits, and the whole thing not provide a 100% guarantee that we will be on the next circle. And finally, change in Russia will begin when fear starts to retreat. People are very afraid right now, but it will happen, and then the next steps are completely clear. End the war, free political prisoners, restore freedom of speech, and open the road for fair elections.
Thank you so much for your answer. Next, please, Andrei Pivovarov is a Russian politician too. Andrei, the opposition must be prepared for a sudden regime change. Does the opposition have a plan? What's next? For example, we can imagine Vladimir Putin disappeared. What's next?
I hope so, that Vladimir Putin will disappear, and I hope so it happens today. It will be a great day for us. Of course, we have to ready, but always it was never been history that opposition is ready for the regime disappeared and, for example, Putin dead. But in my point of view, we have to work every day and try to be ready in any time. First of all, as Lev Alexandrovich told, we have to create our own agenda. We have to show the people inside Russia, first of all, that we have an ideas, we have a vision of the future Russia, beauty future Russia or another Russia, but it has to be good for the Russians inside, first of all. And the second, we have to create this vision for the Western countries, because everyone, I'm sure we watch a lot for Venezuela, where the dictator disappeared, reality, and nothing changed. No, nothing changed in the system. The regime continues to be. So we have to show that we can be a new authority, we can work in this system. It's maybe vision, the first of all. The second that we have to do, as Lev Alexandrovich and Natalia told, that we, of course, have to work with people inside Russia. It's not only one leg when we have a conference with a so great forum and, for example, our own forums, but we have to work with people inside Russia. And the third, maybe not good point, but I'm sure that we have to do it. We have to work with the people who hate us. After Putin, it will be not another society. It will be a society who, some of them have family members in army. Some of them are working in industries who create weapons. Some of them live in Russia with Putin, and some of them believe what happens in TV or in some scenes. So we have to create some type of society, I just forgot the word, sorry, consensus. Consensus in society, because it will be another part of the Russia. It will be not a liberal society. And I think it's our chance for the new vision of Russia, but it is a chance that we can start another type of regime. So, for example, revenge of the people who come back from army, revenge of the people who work with Putin. It's reality, so we have to stop it. We have to find some type of new Russian civil society when the other one part will be liberals and the other part will be persons who live in Russia under the Putin. I think it's a big problem, and it's a problem for Russian society, of our society, because everyone will help Ukraine, everyone will help another countries, but nobody will help new Russian society. Thanks.
I have an additional question, if I could. You told that we have to connect with people who hate us. This forum opened with a film about the far right. Hillary Clinton was attended on this event. Do you think it's necessary to engage in dialogue with the far right if they are opposed to Putin?
I think it's not type of you're right. It's not a coalition. It's not our friends, absolutely. But we have to discuss with them. We have to explain him. Okay, you hate us. I am foreign agent. I am ex-political prisoners. I am liberal. You are, for example, far right. You are a fan of, for example, Prigozhin. But your enemy, Kremlin, Putin sent you to this war. They told that he claims that you will be new elite, but it nothing happens. They told me we give you good salaries, we give you new membership in parliament, and etc., etc., etc. But nothing happens. A lot of people died, killed in this war. This war is not for the how it's called, Russian world. It's Putin's war. In this case, you have enemy not in Ukraine, not in Western, and not in liberals. Your enemy is in Kremlin. And in this case, I think it's more dangerous for Kremlin than our society in forum. It's unpopular, but we have to speak with them. Of course, we can't create any allies. But for example, we have to speak about the lies in the right society. I think it's not good, but it's our chance.
Thank you, Andrei. And next, my question for Marina Ovsyannikova. Marina is a Russian journalist and activist. Russian media in exile are often accused of being out of touch with Russia. Is it possible to provide accurate coverage of events in exile?
Because after Putin announced his so-called special operation, so many Russian media must go to exile, and now we have probably I don't know how much, probably near 50 media who are working in exile, and I think the main problem for them how to provide independent information to the Russian territory. And if you know, I'm now struggling for freedom for speech because before I worked for propaganda machine, and now I absolutely changed my activities. And after the war with Ukraine started, I started to fighting for freedom for speech. And I think now we have the main our problem how to deliver it independent information to Russia. And I want to say 2 years ago, together with Reporters Without Border, we create special project. It's a special satellite of freedom. It was the project organized together with Reporters Sans Frontières and Europarlament, and finally we did it, and we start to provide independent information to Russians, to Russian territory, and probably if you use if you use your satellite, you can receive independent information from independent Russian media. And also, as I know, every media now, every independent media, they have a lot of problems. They are recognized as undesirable organization, foreign agent, etc., and they are still struggling for opportunity to provide independent information to Russia. And if I know, they use different ways to deliver this independent information. And at first, they suggest Russians to use VPNs, and exactly they use also mirror sites to deliver these informations, and they use different ways, and we can't leave Russian society alone with only Putin's propaganda. We have to use all our activities, all our possibilities to provide independent information to Russia, and support of independent media. It's really necessity now, and all time I usually talk about please support Russian independent media and help to give Russians independent information. And if we are talking about our main point, Russia after Putin, I think it's the second year when we discuss in this topic on this forum. In previous year, we are talking about this topic with Kara-Murza, with Gennady Gudkov, and you know, I think all of us, we all lost hope for quick regime change in Russia. And most of Russian society remains under control. The elite are still loyal, and propaganda inside Russia works extremely effective. I can say I recently spoke with someone who had very pro-Western, pro-American views, but now this person said me, do you know, everything is not so clear. Maybe Putin is right, and it's really effect of propaganda because it slowly wash your brain, wash brains people who are still live inside Russia. And I think we don't have any illusions for quick regime change in Russia, but we, because Putin built this dictatorship almost 25 years, and I think it takes another 25 years to change this regime. And of course, change doesn't happen their own. It needs to be real preconditions, need to provide real sanctions. We have to West have to support. Entire Western coalition have to support Ukraine because without Ukraine victory, it's impossible to build a peaceful, democratic Russia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina. I have an additional question too. Do you live in Paris? Yes.
Yes, I live in Paris. I'm very grateful to the French government because they really saved my life.
Yes, I can explain why I'm asking. Russian authorities often repeat that absolute freedom of speech exists nowhere. Do you know official propaganda? And citing restrictions in France as an example.
No.
What do you think about this point, and how would you respond to this? For example, and Russian authorities said in France you can't ridicule Holocaust, for example. It's normal when everywhere we have some rules.
I live in France almost 3 years now, and I can say you in France they have absolutely freedom of speech. On one hand, they have state TV channels. It's TF1, France 24, etc. But from another side, they have C News, and C News it's absolutely far right channel, far right channel. And can you imagine for this channel now? On this channel, work ex-chief of Russia Today, Ksenia Fedorova. And she provides absolutely Putin's narrative for French audience. It's not forbidden in France. Nobody tried to kick off her from this channel or something like that. They have absolutely freedom of speech. They have left views, right views, and it's not forbidden.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Marina. And my next question is to a girl from Pussy Riot and Lisa Samoilova and Lucia Stein, who wants to answer. Do you think radical messages about armed support, for example, for Ukraine, can gain support in Russia? And do you have such a goal, or it doesn't matter for you?
I wanted to add to Ivan and Andrei regarding the day after Putin, this topic, because I think it's important that last time on the same panel, as I remember, there was the same question for the discussion, and I wanted to say that I think it's not the key question, and Europeans, they continue to ask Russian opposition representatives about that, but it's very important to understand that, of course, we all can't wait for his death, or even better, for him to face trial, but we have to admit that this is not only about him. The problem is systemic. Every sphere has been affected: legal system, security services, media, education, economy, business, the entire society. Russia never fully dealt with the legacy of the Soviet Union. It never opened the KGB archives. It never gave a legal assessment to its repressive past. And Putin became a consequence of this history. So with no fundamental change, we may get a new president, but the same old regime, no matter how promising a candidate appears. You can remember the early 2000s when the West was fascinated by Putin. He was described as a young reformer, pragmatist, a negotiator, yet then he was already taking his first autocratic steps, building a vertical power structure, banning independent media, and eliminating political competition. At the time, many saw this as simply restoring order, but that was exactly when the foundations of today's dictatorship were laid. So with no breaking down the entire system, a change of leadership risks becoming nothing more than a change of appearance. So in my view, the real question is not who comes after Putin. The question is what institutions can be built after him so that we don't end up with a new Putin in a different form and don't return to the same point again.
What do you think, how we should change mindset of Russians? Some people like to say and discuss about de-imperialization of mindset. What do you think about this topic? It's not enough for just change, power. You talked about this. What's the steps next about education, maybe?
I think it's something like called counter-propaganda. It's really important to talk to people, and I also agree with previous speakers that we have to talk with those who hate us. Because if we don't, we won't proceed with anything.
Elisa, maybe do you want to add some advice for us?
Well, I don't think I'm in position to give advice. Could you repeat your question, please?
I'm asking about how we should change of mindset.
I actually don't think that we have to think a lot about it, because I think that Russian society have been so much deprived of any political agency for years. And of course, I think the average Russian today would say that the occupation of Crimea is good and that probably the Ukrainians are Nazis. But if we just change the media, and if that same person would be fed not propaganda pro-violence narratives, but liberal narratives, I think that in a couple of years, that same person would say that probably we should give the Crimea back. It's just, what about you tell the people? I'm sorry, I may sound pessimistic, but I still live in Russia, and when I come back from Europe, it just looks like I'm in another dimension, because just all the European Parliament, UN resolutions, World Forum talks about democracy. It just doesn't exist in Russia. No one cares about the UN Special Rapporteur on Russia, and it's just a completely different reality. But I think the good thing is that it's easy to be fixed in a way.
Thank you. But it's realistic picture, in my opinion. It's my last question for all, and next I would like to ask Lyubov. Marat Gelman. Marat Gelman is a Russian gallerist. We are discussing about post-Putin Russia. And all culture in Russia has been destroyed. You know this? And how can it be restored in post-Putin Russia? It would be not enough to remove some that symbols from the theaters. What we should do in future?
Culture in Russia destroyed, but Russian culture is not destroyed. Because more than half, and maybe majority of important cultural people leave Russia. It is very important that cultural elite and administrative, so political elite, now in the different side of this war. So if you see, for example, main Russian writers, number one, Sorokin, live in Berlin, 100 meters from me. Ulitskaya in Berlin, etc. Shishkin in Switzerland, Akunin in London, etc., etc., etc. So the same situation with musicians. So for this case, it is very important to save, not to build, but to save this cultural situation out of Russia. So, and this is our mission. What we must to do. For me, yesterday you asked me who will be president in exile. And I say that, of course, a lot of political people here, and we can organize government in exile, president in exile, but I think it's a very bad idea. Because it will be a lot of conflicts only, it will be a lot of irony, sarcasm, and I think that Kremlin propaganda will join this sarcasm, yes, and they will. But we can build Russian society out of Russia. 3 million people, a lot of cultural people out of Russia. So not to build government, but to build society. So people, these 3 million people will have experience to live in Europe. These people will be Russian Europeans. For example, I live between Montenegro and Berlin. In Montenegro, 15% of people who live now in Montenegro speak in Russian language. So we are cultural minority. And it is very interesting. So I speak with Minister of Culture, and they work with us like with cultural minority. They have Albanian minority, 25%. They have Russian minority, 15%. So, and this is Russian European culture. What it means? It means to be minority, to be culture without this huge territory. So, and the same in Berlin. So 10% of people who live in Berlin speak in Russian. Not only Russian people, but Ukrainians, etc., etc. The Minister of Culture, here it is no minister, senator, culture senator of Berlin, say me, we want that Berlin will be capital of Russian culture. Yes, and when I say, okay, I can say this in public, he say, maybe not, because, but come for money. So I mean that it is very important to build infrastructure. So my idea is, you know that when Kremlin runs this SVO, it was cancelled participation of Russia in Venice Biennale and in Eurovision. So, and yes, I agree with this decision, of course. But when we organize our platform in Parliament Assembly, I speak with new president of PASEP, with Petra, that we must reconstruct participation of Russia in Venice Biennale, in Eurovision, but not from Kremlin side, but from our side. So to do the same things which was done with politics, with culture. So I think that, so I'm very, how to say, I'm not optimistic about when this day after Putin will be, but I'm very optimistic that we can save Russian culture, and not only save, to make transformation from imperial Russian culture, great Russian culture, to European Russian culture. This is my proposal. Thank you.
Thank you for interesting speech, but I have additional question too. What is Russian culture in your opinion? Because in Russia, you know, live almost 200 ethnic groups, and some people think that Russian culture is very imperial topic. What do you think? How we should change this culture in future? In your opinion?
Interesting. Yes, you know, when we lose territory, we have only language. So for me, it is people for whom Russian language is their language. Of course, there is a lot of people who are not agree with this. First of all, my Moldavian friends, they speak Russian, but they say we are Moldavian, Russian speaking Moldavian. Okay, it is open situation. If you want, you participate. So Russian government in this situation, when culture go exiled, what is Russian government today? It is security company. They have only border, on the territory. And of course, in this territory, there is not only Russians. There is different in other, yes? And I think in language countries, future countries, it will be in other country. So Tatar country, so it will, so maybe because this bad situation, we are in avant-garde of world process. My idea is that because social media developed, so future country will be country around languages. So it is a little bit utopia, but we try to develop this like Meta Russia. Maybe you listen, this project we make with Stas Belkovsky. This is idea to make new government, like virtual government around language. And this is what I'm interested. It doesn't mean that there is another people. For example, Kasparov, his idea Taiwan to buy island, for Russians. I don't believe in this, but I mean, it is very important that there is different projects around this topic. But what is we now like fact? No politician, no business, no IT, only cultural people. Majority of cultural people say no to Kremlin.
Thank you, Marat. Любовь Sobol, you want to add?
Sasha, I have a question for you. You're not only a moderator of this discussion, but as well participant as well. What do you think about after Putin's Russia, and how can we achieve a democratic Russia?
Refederalization is my main topic. I wrote a research paper on Globsec think tank based. I think a real good future for us is just a real federation, because officially our name Russian Federation, but it's not true. And second point, in my opinion, a de-imperialization mindset, because we are from the biggest country in the world, and sometimes it's our very, very important topic, you know, because when you're abroad, you know, everybody know what is Russia, where is Russia, and I think we should understand that a real good life for people, it's good goals for us. It's not biggest territory in the world. It's not imperial ambitions, etc. But unfortunately, I don't know how we change our mindset, because I remember my short story. I remember when I participated in UN event, and I sit very close with Veronika Tsepkalo. She's from Belarus, and presenter forgot about Belarus when he said who will have speeches on at this event, and Veronika told me always everybody forgot about Belarus, and this moment I felt that I'm very proud that I'm from Russia, because we always visible, because we're the biggest country in the world. I think it's abnormal. I should change my mindset too. I'm from ethnic minority group, I'm from indigenous people, but I have imperial mindset a little bit too. And but we should self-reflection. In my opinion, it's very, very important for us and for Russian opposition in exile too. Thank you. And but I have a question for you about lack of
about imperialistic mindset.
Yes, critics of the Russian pro-democracy movement believe it lacks legitimacy because no one elected them. How do you think the legitimacy of the Russian opposition in exile can be enhanced?
I don't have an answer to your question because I don't know how can we achieve legitimacy from abroad. I think that we cannot organize an election, free election right now because people inside Russia cannot participate in these elections. It's very dangerous for them to participate in any events which could be organized of Russian opposition abroad. So I don't have an answer, but I think that we should do significant actions for protection of their rights. And if we will succeed in it, we can take their support, their love, their so yeah, we should focus on our actions and always think about people who are now in Russia, who are struggling, who are fighting for democracy even now in very toxic political environment. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Lubov. I have a question for Maria Alyokhina. She's from Pussy Riot. It's very important. Maria, do you know on Twitter many people discussed we should take responsibility for this war, Russian aggression against Ukraine, or not? What do you think? How we should define what is guilty or what is responsibility? In my opinion, for example, it's very important because we should take responsibility for this war because we are citizens of Russian Federation.
So we means holders of Russian passports, correct? I think it's personal decision which people are making independently themselves. So I do feel responsibility, but I would not judge people who doesn't feel it. And super happy that I'm not reading Twitter for a while.
Thank you, Mariam. And for last remarks, my question for everyone, what do you think? It's a big question for people, but our colleagues from European countries and United States always ask why Russian opposition is not together, always have big conflicts each other, why we don't have a unitarian movement. What do you think? We need big one opposition, or it doesn't matter this period when we are? Who wants to answer?
I don't know. I don't have an answer why we have unity in Russian opposition, but I will try to answer a previous question to Lyubov Subal, because maybe the answer is the same. We need to speak just truth. We need to speak from our heart. We have a great advantage on people inside Russia because we can speak truth and we can be their voices. And this way is to receive our legitimacy and to receive our support and to receive, I don't know, do we need this unity, some organization or something like big for all Russian in exile? Maybe we just need to, maybe in 2026 we need just to be with our maybe small groups, maybe some bigger groups, and to be in contact with them, to speak truly with them, and to share our thoughts, and this way to save our maybe small communities. And then, when Putin will fail, he will definitely fail. We will unite these small groups in one maybe bigger movement and some bigger idea for all of us.
Natalia Arnaud wants to
I'll add.
answer.
Yeah, I agree with Ivan. It's not necessary for us to be again one big group. It's much more important for us to treat each other as allies in this pro-democracy, anti-war movement. It's very important to support each other. It's very important to coordinate more. This is maybe what we are lacking, more coordination. But also it's very important for us to understand that it's not that we have a very unique situation, we are very exceptional and exclusive. And no, if we look at the example of many other countries, it also could be some divisions, some other things, and we can learn a lot from our allies in Azerbaijan, in Georgia, in Belarus, in Venezuela, in like Tibet, among Uyghurs. Like we had a small. We always were working more like in our region on Ukraine, on Belarus projects, and we thought again we have some common. Things, but when we once had for a very short period, we had a project on Hong Kong, we learned, wow, we have so much in common, we have so many common problems, and we can learn from each other so much. This is what we can do. Dictators cooperate, they endorse each other, prop out each other, they copy-paste repressive legislation and so on. We should be understanding that solidarity is our biggest weapon against dictators, and we, everybody in democratic world should be together. Not only democratic countries, but even in dictatorships, there are people who doesn't want to be their country a dictatorship, and they are our allies as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to? Marat Gilman?
Yes, I have. Because I'm a member of anti-war committee, and we try a lot to build this unity, yes, Berlinskaya platforma and blah, blah, blah. So first of all, I explain reason why we try to do this. Because for some communication with our European American partners, they ask with whom to speak. For example, like this situation with Venice Biennale, we will speak with president of Biennale, and he say, yes, good idea, but who will decide? Who will be commissioner? Or for who? Marat Gilman personally? No, it is impossible. Who represent alternative Russia? It doesn't mean that must be somebody who was elected. They are afraid that if it will be, in the next moment will come another one and say, no, it is wrong. So we try to do it because it is, how to say, it is useful. It is good things if it will be. From another side, when we speak with Passé, and somebody, Milov, says that we have no unity between us. Please make decision later about platform. Answer was, what kind of unity you? For example, I work in Greece platform. Ex-president say, with person who won't put me to the prison. We have no unity, but we work together. So I think that it is very important and very important lesson Passé give to us that you don't need unity, but there is some question when you must be coordinated, not unity. And I think it is very important that step by step this coordination happened. And some people who are against, they become out of game. So, and for this case, we are not unity with Sobol, yes, but we coordinate our activity. And it is very important. And I hope in future it will be, thankful to you that we work together, not kiss each other, but work together. Yes. And of course in future, because it is a long way, and because we have at least 3 million people here and 30 million people in Russia who are who are against war. Yes. So it is important every time and remember that we are nobody without these people. They invite us to the forum to speak with us, not because we are so nice people, but because there is 3 million here and 30 million in Russia who are against Putin, against war. Thank you.
Thank you for a very important speech. Who wants to make last some remarks, maybe? I would like to say. The World Forum called Kara-Murza, president in exile. It was a reason why a lot of people mocked about this point, but the big problem that it's not problem, but it's very important to say. In future, in Russia, we don't want to have a president. Me, for example. I think we should support idea about parliamentarian system, and where president doesn't matter. It's like symbol. And in my opinion, it's reason why we don't want to discuss about president in exile. It's a strange point, in my opinion, too. And in my opinion, very important to learn from different countries, because Russia is empire, and to say we know better about everything in the world, but we should learn from experience from Lithuania, from Ukraine, municipal reforms, and from successful Asian democracies like South Korea and Japan. And it's very important because Russia is not Europe only. Russia is Euro-Asia with two identities, and I think we can be richer with two identities. It's not weak side, it's strong side. In future, we should understand this point. And Maria Alyokhina, you want to add, I think.
Give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
I won't.
I'm waiting. Okay, we don't have time, but I would like Maria Alyokhina will say something if she wants.
Maybe while Maria is preparing, I'll just fill the gap. I think also it's very important for us not to marginalize ourselves as being in exile, because also experience of many other countries show that very often when there are changes in the home country, people who care can come back as reformers, parliamentarians, presidents. We know this example from Ukraine, Georgia, Baltic countries, Poland, the Czech Republic, and so on, and even further countries for us, like South Korea, South Africa, Brazil, and so on. So again, it's very possible that the next Russian president or prime minister, whoever, or again, at the very least, reformer, visionary, the person who believes in a free and democratic and normal Russia is now either in exile, or this person is now a Russian political prisoner. Thank you. Maybe Maria is ready now.
I totally agree. Maria?
Да-да.
we try to
Okay,
make a gap.
so basically, I wanted to say that 2 years and a day ago, Alexei Navalny was killed, and unfortunately, these days I haven't heard many words about him. And physically, he will not see something which is facing me on the screen the day after Putin. But I would like to you to remember that if you kind of building this world, to do it with mentioning of the person who died for that.
Thank you. Elisa or Lucia Stein.
Yeah, I just wanted to add regarding the president in exile that this is a huge difference between us, between Russians and Belarusians. Sorry, if it's correct. They have Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. She has a legitimacy because she was elected, and we unfortunately don't. And I think that that's the reason why we get what we have. We had Alexei Navalny before, but he was killed, and he was never allowed to elect. So, yeah, just.
It's true. It's fact.
This is also the reason why there is whole this mess with parliamentary assembly because it's also the difference that Belarus they have official delegation status and we don't. Exactly because we don't have representatives who where protest society can agree that they represent us. So that's why Assembly named this advisory or consultative board. So yeah, that's the huge difference and our problem.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Now we have time for a coffee break, and after we have interesting sections for every participant. Thank you so much.